Hi, I'm Vibrating Samuels and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology, where I give you my textured take on the world of astrology. So welcome back to the final retrograde for this week, where Jupiter is retrograding back through Capricorn. It's currently at 27 degrees and will be retrograding back to 17 degrees. And will be in that position until September the 12th, when it starts to move direct again. So when we're looking at the concepts of Jupiter and Capricorn, Jupiter is about expansion and optimism, whereas Capricorn's about restriction and sobriety. So you're trying to balance between these two polarities, really. And one of the things that may show up is that since Jupiter has been in Capricorn, how have you actually been blocking your blessings? Because Jupiter is about abundance, about the good things that come to you in life. Whereas Saturn and Capricorn is about, well, you might see the good thing, but you're so nervous and reticent and risk averse that you don't actually go for whatever has shown up as an opportunity. But most importantly, what this retrograde season is inviting you to do is to think about your life. Your life is like a laboratory, and it's a time for you to be really understanding the karma of your life. You know, you go out into the world, you have experiences, they have an impact, and then there's an outcome, which means that you've got data. You've lived X amount of years, so now is the time for you to be reflecting on what have you actually learned? What wisdom can you extract from the data of your life? And so it's about the karmic understanding of your own personal life journey, but also about the environment around you, literally your local environment. But we're looking at the world here because that's Jupiter's domain. Jupiter is about what's happening in the world. How are you paying attention to this? Jupiter in Capricorn is very risk averse, or does things in a very practical way. However, there's a time when you are willing to take some risks, but it's tied to your ego, because it's when you think you can have more authority or more control over other people, which actually does you a disservice, because you're carrying the burden of always maintaining this front of being in control. And what it actually prevents you from doing is relaxing and really enjoying the benefits and the beauties and the pleasures of life. Jupiter is about abundance. Hey, relax, just take it easy and enjoy what is in front of you. Otherwise, you're going to remain in this perpetual state of loneliness, and you're ruling your life as well as other people's lives with this iron fist. So there's three people who come to mind that had an overinflated opinion about who they are and their status and their standing in the world. So, you've got Nixon, you've got Hitler, and you've got Thatcher. And so, they had they had strong ego attachment to their authority in the world. So, for example, Thatcher, she said that most people or most citizens are like children. They have to be told what to do. And, if they break the laws, and then it's going to have heavy punishment. So all three of those characters have Jupiter in Capricorn. And I remember living through the Thatcher era. And particularly when the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, when she legislated that back in 1984. And it was a huge thing that was going on in Britain at the time. And I remember, because I was doing my law degree, and it was this big constitutional discussion. Are we now we're supposedly living in a democracy, are we now moving into a police state? And the reason being is because she transferred a lot of the powers to manage us as citizens into the hands of the police, and that really was shown in quite a devastating way with the contention with the miners, and so this whole miners' strike. So when you're thinking of Jupiter and Capricorn, we're feeling the heavy hand of the authority figures. Now let's fast forward to where we are today, and on May the 1st this year, there's a bill that was passed in the US called the HR 6666, otherwise known as the Trace Act. And what it is, it's this new legislation that's being proposed, and allegedly what's behind it is about the tracing and the reaching and the contacting of citizens throughout the US to test them for coronavirus. Allegedly there's about $100 billion that's being pumped into this new industry. But one needs to look at the implications of what this means, because it could be some kind of erosion of human rights. It's also this sense of the big brother, the surveillance society. That's what we're living in now. So what we're beginning to see, if we think back to Thatcher days, of, you know, policing the crisis, literally policing the crisis, from the state, we're seeing it now transformed in the way of a technocratic policing through technology and through this imposition of this surveillance society. So Jupiter through Capricorn is showing our relationship with the state and its relationship with us. It's also showing where we are being authoritarian in some way, in a way that's undermining us, so we're not actually allowing the blessings to come into our life. But also, you know, what are you now prepared to do as you're going through the retrograde season to think about how do you block your actual blessings? Where is it that you need to be extracting the wisdom from your life? What have you learned? Because when Jupiter goes direct from mid-September, you're going to be in a position, hopefully, where you're thinking about yourself from a wisdom point of view. And the wisdom that you've extracted, how can you now use that wisdom to share with other people in your immediate environment, but also around the world? Whatever your stage is, use it in a way that constructively uplifts the masses. Because if we're looking at, you know, the world is changing, we're seeing it played out under the pandemic. It's clear for everybody to see. But it's for you to start rising up in a way. What have you learned? Each and every one of us is a guru in our own right. And what we're seeking to do is to harness that wisdom and share it with others. So that's it, beautiful people. Jupiter retrograding through Capricorn up until September the 12th. And also, just think about it, when Jupiter does retrograde, it will be going back to the point when Jupiter conjuncted Pluto, and also back to the point when Saturn conjuncted Pluto. Saturn conjuncted Pluto exactly on the 12th of January. And so here, Jupiter going back to that point is looking at, actually, are there any remnants from your old life that need to be transformed? You know, it's time for the transformation to continue. Also, with Jupiter conjunct Pluto, it's about, was there anything that was transformative that took place in your life? And this would have been towards the end of March, 28th, 29th, 30th, maybe early April. Was there anything transformative that took place in your life whereby you now feel restricted by it or expanded by it? Either way, use the retrograde season to examine, to explore, pull out the wisdom, and then apply it when Jupiter moves forward from mid-September. So that's it, beautiful people. That's Jupiter retrograding through Capricorn, 27 to 17 degrees, and yeah, think about your own wisdom. So, as always, please put your comments in the comment box below. You know I love to jam with you. Share this episode with other people in your network, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Press that subscribe button. So stay well, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye.